What's going on, everyone? I've got an exciting video today. We're playing some double green Boba Fett back from set 2. The only Boba Fett that wasn't close to getting banned or had something from their deck banned. This one's pretty cool. We're playing around OPPO Rensisis. I don't even know if that's how you say it, but we're going to call him OPPO or OP for short, because it's going to be OP in this list. Double command keyword soup is kind of the name of the game. There are a lot of really interesting ones in the deck that really do some good work for OP here, and we're going to dive right into it with a big thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. Guys, thank you for supporting the channel, and also I have a TCG player link in the description down below if you want to pick up any set 5 card. But what are we doing with Boba Fett, guys? Well, obviously we could go two different directions with OP here. Double command means that we either could be playing, there's two real keyword decks, Boba Fett or Morgan Elspeth. And honestly, Morgan Elspeth's options in villainy are not nearly as exciting as the command one, or as the heroism ones, in my opinion. So OP here says, anytime a unit has ambush, grit, hidden, overwhelmed, saboteur, sentinel, or shielded, you're going to gain it on OP here. This is pretty strong. And then he also gains raid 2 or restore 2 should that unit have any form of raid or restore. So actually, raid and restore are some of the stronger ones. Things like Ryloth Militia here is a 2/3 with raid 1 suddenly becomes, well, awesome in Boba Fett, period, but also giving OP here raid 2. So it's a 3 resource 5/5 attacker. That's pretty nice. Or Admiral Yularen gives restore 2. The really strong keywords, in my opinion, however, are going to come from Modded Cohort and Gungan Warrior. Now, this is one of the only shielded units in double command that I could find, and it's not even a command card for heroism. Gungan Warrior here, if we have this on the board and then we play OP, you're going to gain a 3/5 shielded restore 2er. That's actually pretty good, even if it's on like 4 resources. And then if you do have raid on the board, or if you do have, like, let's say a modded cohort on the board, suddenly he's going to be a 3/5 shielded ambusher, raid 2, restore 2. That's incredible, right? So it really gets out of hand really quickly with OP if you do happen to just have a couple of units on the board. Obviously, Sundari Peacekeeper is amazing. This becomes a 3 resource 3/5 raid 2 restore 2, which is amazing. There's a couple other units in the deck that can randomly give keywords, but to be honest, there's not a crazy amount of solid keyworded units, so we kind of had to pick the best. In terms of interaction, we've got Strike True as some removal, Command as some more removal, or just some value-oriented gameplay. We've got a couple of great ECL options, Ayla Sakura, Sabine's Masterpiece, General Riken, all great. And also OP could be a great one as well if you have, let's say, a Gungan Warrior, as I said, 3/5 shielded restore 2, or if you do happen to have Sundari Peacekeeper, he's a 3/5 with raid 2 and restore 2. So that's not a bad ECL out, especially if you are racing someone. Outside of that, we got some value plays like Caloran Beck and Home 1 if we do get to that late game, although I don't know if we really are. And then we've got a couple of copies of Chewbacca for the turn 2, option, or turn 3 option of putting it on like a Phoenix Squadron A Wing Masterpiece or Marauder against some of the controlling options. Also has a keyword himself. And we're going to see what we can do with Boba Fett here. I don't think this deck is going to be like next level, okay, we're going to win every single game, but I do think it'll be quite fun, and I do think we can do some really cool things with OP here. Alrighty, into our first matchup, and we have a very expensive hand that we are going to mulligan here. A bunch of 2-drops, which are reasonable, but nothing outside of that. So, like, I don't want my card to be 2-drop, 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 wait for Ayla, so we'd have to draw into something. I think we can mulligan into a better hand. It's pretty likely for us to do so. This one is a lot better, actually. We have quite a few options. I think Strike True is going to be one of the resources here, and I actually think Battlefield Marine is most likely the play here. I'm gonna drop in a Battlefield Marine, nice little 3/3. If they play like Youngling Padawan or something like that on turn 1, it can just get killed by Battlefield Marine, which is quite nice. And then we have the Sabine's Masterpiece, which also looks pretty good should they have some sort of space unit. Unlikely, but they could have a space unit. They've got Gunji. Gunji is pretty good himself. I do think Gunji does do some work here. We're gonna claim initiative. We'll see what my opponent decides to do. Ooh, Gungan Warrior, huh? So we don't have OP here. So I think we're just going to go with the Sabine's Masterpiece, but I do like Gungan Warrior here, at least getting him on the board so that I can get some value going. We're going to attack for 3. We'll see what my opponent's got here. They may attack Battlefield Marine. I'd be a little bit nervous if they have like General's Blade. That would be very, very scary. But fortunately, they did not have the General's Blade to drop in at the current moment. So happy about that. Remember, command can only hit non-unique units, so kind of weak in that regard. Sundari Peacekeeper, Gungan Warrior. I think Gunji is going to be the resource here. And what I will do is just attack, give an experience token over the Battlefield Marine, and we'll see what my opponent decides to do. They're ramping, which is scary, but we also just have command here, which looks pretty good. Command into ECL Ayla Sakura is pretty strong, and we do have the 3 units that would make that viable. They have a Jedi Temple Guards here, so they're just going to trade off. That seems pretty rough for them because we will go 2 experience tokens to Battlefield Marine and then actually ramp. So we're going to get a little bit of ramp going. And yeah, they can kill off their Gunji, but that seems pretty good for us. I am very happy with how this game has turned out. Here we have a couple options. Inspiring Mentor is actually a really nice draw when we drop it on Boba Fett. We have double 3-drop in Yularen Gungan Warrior. We have ACL Ayla. We have lots of options here, which is really, really awesome. We get to deploy Boba Fett here. And then we get to determine what we want to do with this hand. They're going to deploy Qui-Gon. I think the easy play is just to knock out the Sentinel here. And if they decide to attack into our Battlefield Marine with their Qui-Gon, we can always ECL out Ayla afterwards. Ooh, Qui-Gon Jinn's lightsaber, huh? I mean, that's okay, because they can exhaust a couple of units, but then we could just ECL out Ayla and then hit the Qui-Gon for 7. And Ayla doesn't take any damage. And ooh, that feels super brutal for them. So they could have a couple different things here. Ooh, another Ayla. I think that's going to be the resource, actually. One of the things that we could be a little bit scared about, though, is a Qui-Gon unit. Qui-Gon unit could ambush, basically kill both of these, but we would be left with Sabine's Masterpiece, which is still pretty good. So I'm just going to immediately get an attack with Battlefield Marine. And if that is the case, we go Gungan Warrior plus OP here, and we're going to get a... there's the Qui-Gon, like I mentioned. We're going to get a pretty nice curve out here. So not really worried about this. Again, they kill both. It's fine. I don't really care. Because now we're going to get Gungan Warrior, give the Sabine's Masterpiece +1/+0. We're going to play an OP here. Wait, what? Oh, I guess I misclicked there. Well, that was unfortunate. I was saying, oh, I said they give the exhaust unit get +1/+0 to a unit, and I was like, okay, well, I pass on that because I can't actually utilize it since it's exhausted. So I thought I was in the stage of being totally fine. Wow, draw card. That is awesome. By the way, that is absolutely fantastic. Let's go ahead and put the Inspiring Mentor over on the Gungan Warrior here. We can drop Admiral Yularen to give +1/+0 to something. It's also going to give us Restore 2 on our OP Rensis. But, you know, we already have that. I guess we could drop Modded Cohort to give Raid 2 over to OP here. That actually will win the game, right? Because we have... Right now we have... it's GG. Yeah, it's GG. Doesn't matter. GG. Into the next game. We got ourselves a pretty good one here up against Han. And I do think the space strategy is going to work very nicely for Han. So even though it's not necessarily the most exciting thing, I'm going to go with the game plan of, oh my gosh, is this working out perfectly for us? Is it working out perfectly for us? We're going to ECL out Sabine's Masterpiece to give the experience token over to A-Wing here. Give experience token over to A-Wing. So with the ambush here, because it's playing with ambush, I'm going to get the trigger from Boba Fett. Sorry, I was like brain farting there. I couldn't speak and do the actions at the same time. But restored Arc 170 is kind of the ideal draw here, or the ideal thing to see. Because again, I am trying to go into the space arena. My opponent is probably not going to have that many answers to what we have, besides like the commonly played like Luke's of the world, Anakin's, and things like that. So I am very happy with just deploying a couple of units here into space and seeing what my opponent is going to do. Ayla Secura, a lot weaker now that I have utilized the ECL. We'll see if my opponent has an answer to the Sabine's Masterpiece. If they do, I think they're going to have a decent chance in the game. If they don't, then I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at. Let's go ahead and actually attach Chewbacca to the A-Wing. Make it a very, very obnoxious unit. Again, Shatterpoint's a common card to see, but that Shatterpoint no longer can kill off the A-Wing. The other cards that we're seeing is like Force Throw. That could be a little bit scary. Force Throw could definitely like discard your own card. Force Throw for 7 to 8 damage, definitely as a possibility. So we really want to pump up this A-Wing to get out of range if we can. That's 8 damage in. That's going to be pretty nice. Chewbacca looking pretty good again, to be honest. If they get rid of this A-Wing, which they're kind of pressed to do so with like a Force Throw, we can load up another Sabine's Masterpiece with the Chewbacca here. And I am not too unhappy with that. My opponent really looking for cards like Force Throw. Obviously, if they Force Throw us, then they're never killing this A-Wing, and we're probably just winning. But if they Force Throw themselves, they have a lot of options to discard to get rid of this A-Wing. And they can easily do it with Ki-Adi-Mundi as an option to draw a couple of cards here. So, okay. I mean, they don't have anything. I'm just going to get in for 8 here. And then if they have no answer to the Sabine's Masterpiece, it is good game for them. And if they do have an answer to Sabine's Masterpiece, well, we can always just take initiative after they do whatever they need to do to that unit. I'm not going to take initiative yet because they could be playing around like the long game where they still have Force Throw to get rid of the A-Wing. But to be honest, if they had Force Throw, I would have expected them to use it immediately. So, okay, they have Pillage, huh? Well, Pillage isn't going to do a whole lot here. We can claim initiative, and yeah, never mind then. We should have just, I guess, claimed initiative. I thought it was unlikely for my opponent to have any answer to this besides Force Throw. Force Throw would have been like the only answer that I would have realistically seen here from my opponent. And I mean, we just loaded up space units. We didn't even play many keyword options, and we just went to town, guys. No new cards in that game plan. We just won. Alrighty, we got ourselves a pretty reasonable hand here up against Kira, probably the best deck of the entire format. So definitely got our our path cut out for us, which is going to be a little bit tough here. Although I was figuring Pike Sentinel is a very likely play on turn 1 here, and we get the easy just, okay, we play a unit, we will trade, we'll play Sabine's Masterpiece, and then go to town in that direction. So here we have Command as an option. We also have Modded Cohort. I'm going to resource the home one because it's pretty late from what we have right now. And, well, I mean, they could have like Overwhelming Barrage. Let's play Gunji. If they have Overwhelming Barrage, I think we lose anyways. And I don't think we're winning if we're just Modded Cohort trading with Kira. If we're Modded Cohort trading with Kira, the game is over, I think. So if they have, if they have the Overwhelming Barrage, it's game over anyways. So I don't think we should be playing around it. They have it. It's GG. Realistically, there's nothing that we can do. I mean, we could play it out a little bit, but like I said, this is very much expected. This is kind of what Kira's good at. We're going to pass. And then we've got Ayla. Lots of commands here. Command is not exactly a very exciting one. They got Devastating Gunship. Yep, this is kind of just horrible for us. I mean, we will be able to kill Kira, which isn't bad, but now we're in the late game up against Command Villainy, and that is going to be kind of a nightmare. Command's pretty bad here. like I said, if they had Overwhelming Barrage, that we kind of lose anyways. There's not a whole lot that we can do. We will deploy Boba Fett here. And I mean, we do have a decent curve out, which is, you know, modded cohort. We ambush, kill the Pike Sentinel. And then, I mean, this isn't bad, right? This isn't bad at all. We can play Inspiring Mentor on Boba Fett and start scaling up our units here, which is going to be pretty good. Go ahead and attack, give an experience token over to the modded cohort, kind of divide up our resources because Ayla's probably going to die here. We're going to get in for 7, pass. I mean, Caloran Beck's a good draw as well. I mean, General Riken is pretty good too. I think I'll resource the Yularen. Yeah, no glory only results. Isn't that big of a deal here. Let's go ahead and get an attack in, Inspiring Mentor up the modded cohort. Yeah, I mean, we might be winning. We might be winning here. I mean, we have lethal. They resupplied. It's GG. It's GG. We just claim initiative and win. Wow, I thought we were for sure losing this game, but we just kind of kept on going. And, you know, after the Overwhelming Barrage, I was like, ooh, brutal. This is why you don't concede, by the way, when that thing happens. But that is kind of what the ideal curve out for them is. You know, obviously Pike Sentinel on turn 1 versus my Battlefield Marine is not really what you want. But the game plan of, you know, doing the Super Laser Technician, trading off anyways, into the Overwhelming Barrage from Kira is the way to go. That's what you're really looking for. But I didn't feel like we were going to win the game if I just like stayed back with my modded cohort. I didn't feel like that was a winning strategy. It would have worked better in this situation than what my opponent had. Well, not necessarily, because they still have devastating gunship, so they could have probably played that to get off Sabine's Masterpiece. So I don't even know if modded cohort would have been the better play in this game. I just didn't feel like we had a better chance. I feel like we had a better chance of winning just by playing a couple units rather than going for the modded cohort, just trading with Kira. But regardless, we ended up getting there anyways. So there you go. My opponent didn't really have anything to follow up, though. They didn't have like Maul or Vader or other Vader plus timely intervention. Those types of cards would have been real scary. Well, what is this? We've got ourselves the double red Mace burn deck, I'm assuming. Kind of an okay hand. I'm mulligan though, because I'm not super excited by it. This is a much more exciting hand, actually. I'm going to resource the Strike True in the Battlefield Marine. I don't think my opponent will have a lot of ways to, or units to kill, rather. They're going to be focused more on the event side of things, I imagine. Although they probably have a couple force units to deploy on turn 1, but they're double red, which means they're going to have aggression. Probably the, I forget what it's called, but okay, yep, they're going to just, you know, Mace Windu, Daring Ray, Mace Windu. Yep, it is what it is. Let's resource this Gunji. I will get down this Gungan Warrior. Shielded unit, very good up against the damaged base Mace Windu. And it's probably not something that your opponent is really expecting with these little units here. Let's go ahead and claim initiative. Witch of the Mist being a force unit, going to help them trigger all the forced units that they have. All right, we will discard General Riken. It's fine. I mean, we no longer have shielded on our unit. It is what it is. It's kind of unfortunate. Do they have another event, another one-cost event to use here? I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because that's kind of what Mace Windu's trying to do. Okay, they don't. Resource the Battlefield Marine, I suppose. We will go to combat and knock out this Witch of the Mist so that my opponent cannot generate the force should they have any sort of force-based event. Also, Force Throw is really quite good for them. Granted, they can still use the Mace Windu action here, which is going to be pretty good, but then we can follow up with another Gungan Warrior, and that's totally reasonable. They could have done that same play anyways, and they probably would have, but this just at least allows me to prevent them from gaining the Force, which I think is going to be decently valuable. So they got nothing to play here. Another OP here. Chewbacca, really not that strong, to be honest. Chewbacca not going to avoid the damage-based removal that your opponent's going to have. Senatorial Corvette. Not a card that I'm really like that afraid of. Yeah, just really not that afraid of it. I will attack in here with the Gungan Warrior. General Riken is a good one, and so is Inspiring Mentor. I will resource the Sindari Peacekeeper. We can deploy Boba Fett this turn, which is going to be quite nice. We'll see what my opponent's got. Senatorial Corvette does not generate the force for him. And then we do have a Restore 1er and a Restore 2er potentially if we have the OP out. Inspiring Mentor has been pretty nice here. Inspiring Mentor on a Boba Fett leader with Chewbacca getting the experience, or Gungan Warrior, the shielded one, is going to be pretty impressive. I will deploy Boba Fett immediately. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot that makes us very scared. I know I could deploy like something else to get the trigger from Boba Fett first. Planetary Bombardment. Yeah, I'm just going to take 12. Am I taking 12 here? No, we can't take 12. I will take a couple points of damage here. Yeah, we're going to take it like that. Okay. Inspiring Mentor over on Boba Fett here. OP going to come down. He's going to get shielded. He's going to get Restore 2, which is really, really nice, actually. And he's going to get +1/+0 from Boba Fett. So nice little option there. Going to Restore 1. Attack with Boba Fett. Get an experience token over on Chewbacca. Attack again. Pass. Strike True. I mean, that's actually pretty good. I'm going to keep the Strike True and the General Riken because I could ECL out Riken, or I could just play Strike True. If they have another Planetary Bombardment, then they will be able to just deal a bunch of damage to our units, but that's not really that big of a deal. My opponent, very, very fun deck, by the way. I absolutely love the double red mace window. It's pretty fun to see. But yeah, my opponent is probably just going to die here. Let's just get an attack in, I suppose, with Boba Fett here. And then we can give an experience token over to OP here. Just get that rolling. What could my opponent have here that would be very scary? I mean, Planetary Bombardment is just 12 damage to the base. So it's not quite enough to actually win the game. And every single one of our threats is lethal. I could have done a lot of different things, but I just think just attacking is the way to go about this one. And that's going to be GG. So my opponent with the overwhelming, or not the overwhelming bombardment, but the Planetary Bombardment, really cool to see, but not quite enough. Into our next game against Palp Blue. Really, really solid hand, actually. I like the Gungan Warrior. I like the Sabine's Masterpiece. I think the Gungan Warrior is going to be the resource, however, because I already have Raid. Do I want to ECL out? No, I can't ECL out the Ryloth Militia. They're just going to be able to use Palpatine's ability, and that feels pretty bad for us. Modded Cohort looks good. I mean, these all look very, very good. Inspiring Mentor going to be the resource here, and then we'll see what my opponent decides to do here with this Queel attack. Phase 2 Clone Trooper, huh? Okay, we'll just play a Sabine's Masterpiece. They're going to be able to attack with Queel then. Phase 2 Clone Trooper, probably the ideal card for them to have. It's going to trigger the Palpatine, allow them to draw a card. Wow, they got a Vader. And they're going to be able to do all of their normal stuff here. Ayla Secure going to be the easy resource here. We're going to drop in the Modded Cohort to knock out the Queel. And then we can attack with Sabine's Masterpiece, which is a nice kind of recovery here. Give Sabine's Masterpiece, trigger ambush, kill off the Queel. Then we're going to be able to attack with this, get an experience token, probably on the Modded Cohort. Childson, huh? Okay, so we're definitely attacking still. Power of the Dark Side, No Glory, Ezra. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't actually flip. They do flip. Interesting. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. I would have expected them not to flip with that hand. Let's go ECL Ayla. Give +1/+0 to the Sabine's Masterpiece. Trigger ambush. Knock out the Childson for essentially free. Just a little bit of a free value there. My opponent, I mean, obviously the Vader is scary, but they do need some way to ambush it. So they're going to need like Xian Flurry, which isn't something that's going to be all that great. They have Sabine's Masterpiece, or Geonosis Patrol Fighter, which is obviously good. They're going to be able to attack the Modded Cohort and then do their thing. Yep, flip. They have a couple different cards. They have Power of the Dark Side. They've got No Glory. We've got a lot of options here is basically what that means. They could have Xian Flurry, which would be very, very scary, but we're going to immediately just get an attack in with this Ayla. I don't think we're actually in that great of a spot in this game. I think that we are definitely in a spot that could be very, very risky to kind of do whatever we need to do. Let's go with OPPO. And then, I mean, I don't think we can play around. Do they have another Power of the Dark Side? Do they draw a second one? That would be pretty good for them. Let's see. Waiting for my opponent. They're going to attack base. All right, we will deploy Boba Fett then. A little bit worried about Vader. Vader would be a big, big nightmare, to be honest. But with Vader, oh, they do have another Power of the Dark Side. Wow. Yeah, that was just really good. That was a really good draw. What an incredible draw for my opponent. We will attack for 4. Yeah, that was just an amazing, amazing draw. We have a couple different options. I think Marauder's pretty weak here. The double Power of the Dark Side. Whew, great draw. I was thinking that to play around Vader, not knowing that if they had the Power of the Dark Side, I could go Inspiring Mentor on Boba Fett to give experience token to OPPO. I would still lose Boba Fett should they decide to kill him, but at least OP would live, and then I can deploy Modded Cohort next turn or do whatever I wanted to do. Speaking of, let's go with Modded Cohort here. We will trigger Ambush, knock out that Clone Trooper. Not something that I necessarily am really excited about, but it has to be done. Again, they can flip Palpatine and kind of do their thing, but Ooh, Luke, huh? Yeah, well, Luke is pretty good. We're going to deploy an A-Wing here. And then we'll claim initiative. Command, huh? Well, Riken's going to be pretty meh here. Not, like, exceptionally powerful. We get to just immediately take out or deal 5 to the base with this Modded Cohort. My opponent definitely flipping back and forth. Anakin would be a very scary card as well, but there's nothing we can play around. I think we're definitely losing this game. My opponent with the Phase 2 Clone Trooper, this card is one of the cards that you really, really want in Palpatine. It is an amazing card. This is basically an auto-include for me every single time, and it's doing some good work here for my opponent. I mean, let's go ahead and my opponent could have Vader. I mean, Vader would obviously be super good for them. Let's go Riken. And give Riken Sentinel. Super Laser Blast. All right. They have a Super Laser Blast. Don't think we could have played around that. It's just too rough for us if they have the Vader, right? Like Vader would make it very, very difficult for us to win. We're gonna go home 1, give home 1 the +1/+0. This isn't gonna do all that great of work because I should have kept the Chewbacca. I don't know what I was thinking. That should have been an immediate keep. I'm doing this because obviously I know they have no glory. They can kill home 1, but the only way we're gonna win really is if we put on more pressure. And my opponent just has, you know, Super Laser Blast and that type of stuff. There isn't a whole lot we can do to play around that type of stuff. Oh, Anakin, and then Power of the Dark Side. Do they have another Power of the Dark Side? Wow, they had it all. Yep, what an amazing turnaround for my opponent. But again, nothing much we can do about that. Yeah, not much that we can do. I think that's going to be pretty much GG. My opponent's pretty much won the game just from Palpatine triggers here. But nothing else that we can do. Nothing else that we can do. They're going to be able to play a... let's see, we're going to return the home 1, give 2 experience to Gunji. They're going to be able to do whatever. Oh, wow, they play. Interesting. I mean, there's nothing that we can do. I mean, we can claim initiative, I guess, and bring back Riken as a Sentinel. Okay, they got no glory, and that's GG. GG to my opponent. Really fun deck. The Clone Trooper is really what messed us up. But also, they had the double Power of the Dark Side, which definitely changed the math a little bit. There's just too many things to really play around in that deck. You can play around the Vader, but then you can't play around the Super Laser Blast if you're playing around Vader, because you need to deploy more to, you know, get control of the board. But if you deploy more, then it's pretty brutal. even the Chewbacca, even though it would have been good, they still had the no glory, which we knew about. So they could just do no glory on the Chewbacca, which would have been pretty bad for us as well. We just didn't really get under our feet at any point in the game. We weren't able to stick a threat. And that's what our deck is trying to do. To be honest, against control decks, our deck is really brutal to play. Into the next game, we got ourselves a matchup up against Double Red Luke. And we have a horrible hand. Like, really bad. Actually, well, I shouldn't say really bad. It's not truly that bad. It's just that I was really looking for things like Sabine's Masterpiece is really the card I wanted up against Luke, because they're going to deploy a fighter unit, and then we're going to be sad because they're going to be able to attack, deal a damage to the battlefield marine. Oh, Strike True. That's actually not a bad pickup. I'm okay with that. I'm just gonna Strike True here. Prevent them from using the Tarkin Town, which is going to be pretty nice. Marauder can come out and ambush something, which is going to be pretty nice as well. Command can do something too, so we're going to Strike True, just get rid of that Y-Wing to start off. Opponent playing the Double Red Luke, though. Very, very scary. Lots of ways to deal damage to us. We're going to claim initiative. Reason I'm doing this is I just want to get some experience tokens over on. Ooh, even better, actually. Even better. I'm going to resource the Gungan Warrior here, and we're just going to go with ECL out Sabine's Masterpiece. Get the experience token over Sabine's Masterpiece, which forces them to use Tarkin Town. So now at least we get rid of their Tarkin Town, which is really, really nice. So we're going to keep the board completely clear of units. And now we get to attack in for 4. They have to use Tarkin Town. They can't afford not to use Tarkin. I guess they could have what could they have? Aggression, I guess. If they attack with Sabine's Masterpiece here. Oh, they Tarkin Town now. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna Marauder. Give +1 to the battlefield marine. Ambush the Sabine's Masterpiece, and there you go. Sabine's Masterpiece dead again, or their space unit dead again. They haven't been able to use Luke's action at all. Tactical heavy bomber, huh? I mean, they're gonna be able to deal a lot of indirect damage to us next turn. It is what it is. There's not much that we can do about it. General Riken, obviously completely worthless. They're completely full space. And we're just going to have to deal with what we got. We're going to have to deal. They're going to deploy Luke, obviously, over to their bomber. We can attack in... Yeah, they deal 3 to something. I mean... What do we want to do here? I think we just attack in with the Marauder here. I mean, I think we're losing because this thing's going to deal 7 damage. Hot shot maneuver. Absolutely sweet, by the way. Absolutely sweet, by the way. Yeah, that was an incredible amount of damage. Let's deploy Boba. Really, really cool stuff, by the way. Oh my gosh, they have bravado. I mean, there's not much that we can do. We need to look for, like, I mean, what could we have even? The tactical heavy bomber plus Luke deploy. It was coming. We knew Luke deploy was coming, and that was pretty much all we had. The bravado was very, very nice as an addition here. And as I said, we were looking for Sabine's Masterpiece. We ended up getting it. We had a pretty good curve throughout the time, but we just didn't have the pressure. The Strike True was not ideal, and it's definitely not what I wanted to do on turn 2, but we still had the Sabine's Masterpiece after that for their was it Red 3, which was pretty nice. So we were kind of playing a little bit more of a controlling variant. I would have much preferred to go Sabine's Masterpiece, have them use Tarkin Town a little bit earlier, and then hopefully do something else, but they were all space and they had a big space unit. That's just what happens. Like we can't really deal with a with a big old space unit like that. All right, and to finish us off, we've got a matchup up against Ray, and we mulligan from a pretty mediocre hand into an even worse hand. Definitely don't like seeing that. We will resource, I suppose, the Riken. Yeah, that is very unfortunate. We don't really have, and now we draw the Ryloth Militia. Ooh, brutal. We're going to drop the Yularen in. I'll give the +1/+0 to Yularen. They have constructed lightsaber. Yep, they probably just knock out Yularen here, huh? Oh, no, they're just going to get in for 4. That makes total sense, too. We have another 3 drop here, but that's about it. We don't really have much else to utilize. I mean, yeah, we're gonna attack in for 2, I guess. Get the restore going. We will trigger, give a +1/+0. I mean, again, feeling pretty brutal about this game. They could have Doom here, and then it's really, really rough for us. Village Protectors, huh? That's pretty bad for us too. That is pretty bad for us as well. Yeah. My opponent is just going to town right now. We are going to hit the Village Protectors, get a restore going. Hopefully be able to use the Sundari Peacekeeper to kill off Village Protectors. I mean, we have a lot of restoring going on, which isn't bad. So yeah, we will just do exactly that. We have another Village Protectors. Ugh. Another Village Protectors is pretty brutal for us as well. Let's go ahead and just give a bunch of units, or put a bunch of units on the board. Constructed lightsaber on Yaddle. The missing the turn 1 play was kind of the thing that makes it really difficult for us. Okay, that's not horrible for us. That's not horrible. Ooh, and modded cohort's pretty good here, actually. Yeah, modded cohort's pretty good for us. Let's go ahead and just attack in with the Village Protectors here. Or attack it with Gunji at the Village Protectors here. Get rid of the shield token. Village Protectors just being absolutely obnoxious. Yep, they're going to deal with Yularen. Makes sense. Let's go ahead and, well, we're going to kill off the Village Protectors. Not a whole lot that we are going to do outside of that. We will deploy Boba Fett. Yep, they're knocking out units left and right. Again, not a whole lot that we can do about that. Another constructed lightsaber. Okay, let's go with modded cohort. Trigger ambush and then just trade. That's not a horrible play. Inspiring mentor over on Boba Fett. Let's go ahead and actually attack into the Secretive Sage, because now the Secretive Sage will just trade off here. And we have another Caloran back. We have another mounted cohort. I mean, I like our hand. Let's just say that. I like our hand. All right, we're going to go Caloran back. And we will grab Sabine's Masterpiece. I do like our situation. They had a really interesting kind of curve out here. We're going to give an experience token over to, I suppose, Sabine's Masterpiece and claim. Can knock out Luke, which is going to be pretty good. We've got home 1 next turn. Home 1 plus, like, Yularen or Sundari Peacekeeper. Okay, lots of plays coming up as the potential. Let's knock out Luke here. Kind of forced to, because they're just going to get so much restoring going on. And that one's just a powerful unit. Oh, okay. I mean, in that case, we will go with home 1. And then we will grab, I suppose we can grab the Sabine's Masterpiece again. Shatterpoint's not bad, but my opponent better have something pretty good to follow up. Chirrut. Okay, Chirrut's not bad either. Of course, we can go ahead and just knock out the Chirrut, which we will do. They can use the Force, but it doesn't matter. Sentinel's pretty nice for them, but not nice enough. Another Chirrut, huh? I mean, we will get in for 7. And then a Hondo. Okay, Hondo isn't bad. Let's go with modded cohort here. Give the modded cohort +1/+0. They can go and use the Force to avoid the damage trigger, which is fine. we are going to command. I mean, they all have unique units, so we're just going to bring back Keller and Beck and then give 2 experience tokens over to Sabine's Masterpiece. My opponent just had Cheer It, Shatterpoint. I mean, that was a very, very solid curve. We're going to go ahead and give an experience token over to the home one, I suppose. Pass. We've got A-Wing, Strike True. Not a bad situation. We can't ECL out anything. They just attacked immediately. All right, well, we'll attack immediately then as well. They can move an experience token over. We're going to Strike True the Ray so they can't restore here. They're going to deploy a Queel. Okay, let's go ahead and give an experience token over to the Sabine's Masterpiece yet again. They obviously have to claim. We can just trade off here. I guess I could have gotten in for 1 more damage by playing out a Gungan Warrior, but didn't seem all that great. We're going to play Gungan Warrior. +1/+0. We'll ECL out the battlefield range just to knock out that guy. Doesn't really matter, to be honest. And that's going to be GG. All right, no Doom. Very, very defensive start. We missed turn 1 play. They had the Constructed Lightsaber on Yaddle, and we still ended up getting there. I don't think it was a great curve out from my opponent after the even though they had things that were very disruptive of us. To be honest, the Constructed Lightsabers on Yaddle is not exactly where you want to be, I would imagine, because we weren't very aggressive. So the restoring aspect of this wasn't actually that powerful. I think Jedi Lightsaber would have been significantly better. Like, it would have been game breaking. If they had Jedi Lightsaber, I think we would have just lost. But they had Constructed Lightsaber, which is not nearly as good. The other thing was they couldn't really get their feet underneath them after the fact. Like, they had Village Protectors, Secretive Sage, Shatterpoint, like lots of small units. They did have the Luke, which was really good. But then we had Keller and Beck into home one, which is better. And that's the strength of Keller and Beck, guys. That is the strength of Keller and Beck. All right, so what did we learn with Double Green Bobo? Well, it was a lot of fun to play, but we really didn't get that much OP time in. This card has had a very similar effect across every single game I've played with it, mainly because you're in double command. I think double command, you're too limited on the cards that actually have units with, or too limited on the cards that actually have keywords. That said, we did have a couple games there where we got like Restore and Raid on it, which was pretty sweet. But the problem is that you have to have so many units on the battlefield for this to actually do anything, or even just another unit on the battlefield. And that can be really, really difficult to do. There's definitely a couple different directions you could go. Like, you could be running OP here, and you could go more into the Force direction of Boba Fett, or just in general. You could be going like General's Blade and Gunji, and same thing that we have here, really, but just like General's Blade, more Force based, and go with the Force base that you could play things like Eth Koth and Yoda in the late game. I don't necessarily think that's as great, because this one at least gives you that really killer instinct edge where you can just, play it early unit, ECL out like Sabine's Masterpiece, play a modded cohort, and your opponent's board is kind of decimated. And we saw that in a couple games. Like, we were an aggressive deck, and that can catch people by surprise sometimes. I do think Command is one of those cards that the more sets we get, the worse Command gets. The fact that you could kill something earlier on in the sets was good. That's one of the best modes for it. The fact that you can't anymore because there's too many unique units. Like, if you just look at what we're playing here, we're one of the decks that has very few unique units, actually, and we still have Yularen, Masterpiece, OP, Gunji. We have Caloran Beck, Riken, Marauder, Chewbacca, Ayla, all as unique units. And we're a deck that doesn't have that many unique units compared to some other ones out there. So Command really going down on my list of cards that I really viewed as pretty strong. That said, that is going to be the end of the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed trying to utilize Keyword Soup Boba. I know there's a lot of different ways that you could go with this. There's a lot of different keyworded units, so let me know if there's anything that you guys came up with. You could even go with Unity of Purpose, but we don't have enough deploys, I think, to actually get Unity of Purpose to work. And that's not like Rex. So I thought about that, but I don't think it's actually very good. But there's some other things you could do. So let me know if there's anything that you all figured out with this deck. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you all for a video soon.